Today we're going to cover how to make changes to your articles. Here on this test site, you can see that we've got a few different menu items: About Us, Our Products, and Latest News. Let's start with the About Us products, About Us side. Okay, on the About Us page, we have got 2 articles. On the Our Products page, we have 3 articles. And on the Latest News page, we also have 3 articles. Each article that is displaying is being displayed under its parent category, like on the About Us page. We have 2 articles, who we are, and what we do. You can see in the what we do that we've got an intro image and a read more button. Let's go find out a little bit more about those. When I log into the back end, I'm going to navigate to Content Articles so I can manage my articles. The easiest way to manage your articles is to filter them out by category. When we structure a site, we try to structure it so that the categories are the same as your main parent navigation items. So I'm going to filter by category About Us. And I can see that there are 2 articles in the About Us page. If I look at the What We Do article, by clicking on the title, you're going to notice a few things right away. The first thing you're going to notice is that you have a nice Wysiwyg editor. It's very similar to Microsoft Word, and a lot of the tool buttons are going to be exactly the same as they would be in Microsoft Word. You can see here that you have the ability to select whether or not you're going to use a paragraph or a heading tag. You can add in horizontal rule bars and even special characters. You've got a link manager and you've got an image manager. These 2 things you'll use most often. So if I place my cursor here on this larger bolded text, it tells me that it's a heading 3. If I place it a little lower in the sentence, you can see that it's a paragraph tag. If I click on this blue text right here, you can see that the link icon and the unlink icon are both going to highlight. And if I click on the image here, you can see that the image manager icon is going to highlight as well. You'll notice this big gray bar right here. This is letting you know that you have inserted a Read More button. If I go to the front of the site, when I'm in a category layout, which means I'm showing all of the articles that are assigned to the About Us category, within that, I don't want to show all of the text. I just want to truncate after a few hundred characters. So I decided to put a Read More button right after this first sentence. So you can see right here after this first sentence, I've got this gray bar. If I click on the gray bar, you can see that the Read More icon is going to highlight. If I don't want to use a Read More button there, I would just simply highlight it and hit backspace, and it would remove it from there. I'm going to save that change. I'm going to go to the front of the site and refresh my browser. You'll notice as soon as I remove the Read More button, all of the text in the article and all of the images that are in the article are going to display here. If I go back and I place my cursor after the last word where I want to put a Read More button and click on the Read More button either here or down here, they both do the same thing, it's going to insert that button. If I hit save and go to the front of the site and refresh my browser, you can see that that Read More button is back, and it truncates it, and it makes it a little bit easier to look at than a whole lot of text. Let's learn a little bit about the images that are in your text. You can see that you've got a cowboy image right here. But if you look at your image editor, you don't have a cowboy here. But you've got a tab up here called Images and Links. Here you have the ability to add an intro image. What's interesting is this image is only going to show up on an intro page or a category layout page. It isn't going to display on the detail page or the full article itself. So if I click on Read More, our cowboy goes away because he is only being used as an intro image. What this means is if you have a different image that you want to use on the intro than you want to use in the actual article, you have the ability to control that here. You also have the ability to add an image that is only going to be displayed there on the article. So I'm going to select a different image. I'm going to select the number 1, that image right there, and insert it. And you can see I have the number 1 right here. I'm going to click on the word Save here. Notice when I hit Save, it keeps everything open for me so I can continue to work. If I were to hit Save and Close, it would save my work just the same. However, it would return me back to the list of other articles. It's easier for me to keep that open, so I just hit Save. I'm going to refresh my browser. And you can see right here that I've got the text right here. If I go to About Us, I don't. So why did it do that? If I'm in the category layout, I have an intro image that's a cowboy. But when I click on the Read More button, I don't have a cowboy anymore, but I have a number 1. And if I go and look at my content, I don't have either a cowboy or a number 1 right here. That's because I have them here. The intro image is a cowboy, and the full article image is image 1. So what I could do, instead of using that number 1, I could go ahead and click on that clock tower, go back over here and remove that clock tower and hit Save. Now I'm going to have one image in this category layout page and an entirely different image in the actual article itself. The only thing is that that image is always going to appear in this same location. And let me show you what I mean. I'm going to hit Save and Close, and I'm going to look at the other article. The other article is called Who We Are. I'm going to click on Who We Are. I'm going to go to Images and Links, and I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to put the clock tower in the intro, and I'm going to put the cowboy in the full article. And I'm going to hit Save. And I'm going to refresh my browser, or I'm going to select that menu item again. Either one will be fine. So I've got the clock tower in my intro image, and I've got the cowboy in my full article. You can't change the position of where this full article image is, nor can you change the position of where your intro image is. The system has a default for where they will show these things according to the template that's been written for you. So if you're using a standard Joomla template, this is the expectation you should have. If you need to manipulate where this image is, then don't use the built-in images and links. However, you won't be able to control that one item shows in one place and one shows in another. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about the articles themselves. As said before, you've got 3 articles on each of these menu items. And you've got an article on the home page. The article on the home page, and I'm going to look back here and I'm going to unfilter. The article on the home page is a featured article. The home page is selected to show all the articles that have been featured. In order to feature an article, you simply click on that star. So now if I go to the home page and I refresh the browser, I'll have 2 items. Now the home page is set up to lay out in 2 columns. So if I have 3, now I have 3. So you can see here that you can turn on and off things on your home page if your home page is showing featured articles. 99% of the time, your articles on the home page are not going to show at all. Okay, so we have reverted that back by deselecting those stars. And the home page, a lot of times, they're strictly modules. Notice that the article is always going to stay in the article position. And modules are going to be displayed in module positions. Articles can't be moved around into different positions on the site, but modules can. I'm going to look at About Us. I'm going to look at the What We Do article. And you can see that the What We Do article already has a link in it. If I click on that link, you can see that the icons for Unlink and Link highlight. I could easily break that link by just hitting Unlink. But instead of breaking it, I'm just going to edit it. Let's say I wanted this to show the More Tech Solutions site. So this is the More Tech Solutions link right here. And because this is a link that is not on this website, I'm going to open it up in a new window. I'm going to hit Update, and I'm going to hit Save. Now I'm going to go look at What We Do. And you can see that there's the link here. If I click on it, it's going to open up in a different window. Okay, so what if you want to link to something that is not not off-site, that is on-site? You can do it one of two ways. You can either go to the menu item that you want, highlight it, copy it, and paste it into that URL. Now when you do that, remember this is on your site. Make sure the target is not set, so it will open up within your website. Hit Save, refresh the browser, go back to About Us here. Click on that link, and it's going to bring you to that page. And here's the problem with doing it that way. If you ever change the name of that menu item, if you ever think that you're going to change the name of that menu item, you would want to do it a different way. This is the Widget 3 page. So I would want to go to Menu. And let's try that again. Here we go. I wanted to make sure it was highlighted. And I've created a link menu item that links directly to that page. If you don't have a menu item, you're going to need to go over to your menu manager and create a menu link so that you can link directly to that. And so that is going to keep you on site, but you can go and change the name of the article, or you can change the name of the page anytime you want to, the menu item anytime you want to, and it will still be a good link. It'll just change dynamically, automatically for you, so you won't have to go change it in a bunch of different places. Okay, let's look at some of the neater features of these articles. A little known feature is a publishing feature. You can see here on the front of the site that we are on this site, and maybe not on your site, but on this site we're displaying who the author is. You can change who the author is anytime by going to the Publishing tab and selecting a different author. So this is written by Seller now, and this is written by Superuser. Another thing you can do, if we're on the About Us page, is you can say that an article won't be published until a certain date. So if I don't want this to show till tomorrow, let's say I'm working on it and I want to get it into the system today, but it doesn't need to display till tomorrow, I would just simply put in tomorrow's date, hit Save, go over here and refresh, and you see that article just disappeared. So who we are is no longer visible, and it won't be visible till tomorrow, but tomorrow, boop, it'll pop up automatically. And if we put a finishing date, let's say that Friday, we want it to display, and it's only going to display from tomorrow till Friday, then what'll happen is, boop, tomorrow it'll show up, and on Friday, it'll disappear. For the most part, you want to do that. You don't want to do that. You'll just want to keep those empty. Now the created date, if your menu item, and let me save this real quick so I can show you this better. These menu items, when you set up a menu item that is a category blog layout like these are, you also, at that time that you set up the menu item, determine how you want it to display. If you want to show it by the latest article that was created or by the order that you give it. That's a choice you make when you're setting up that menu item. So in the Who We Are section, or on the About Us section, these are set up to show according to order. But on the Latest News section, these are set up to show according to date. So the most recent ones in this news item, in this news page, will show up at the top. The oldest ones will be at the bottom, which is typical of a news layout. But the About Us page, I want to be able to order that manually. So that menu item is set up to show to be ordered manually. So let's take a look at that. So we're in the About Us section, and I've gone over here to sort my table by ordering ascending. And when I do that, I'll get two handles. Now what we have here is who we are and what we do on the as far as the order. If I want to change who we are and what we do so that what we do is on the top, I would just grab that handle and drag it up. And then I could refresh my browser and Mr. Cowboy is going to float up to the top. So if you have a news section, and let's look at that news section, it's being ordered according to when it was created. Well, what if you created all three of them on the same day, but they're not really showing up the way you wanted them to? Well, you can change that. Let me show you how. We've got Found Online, and Got Found Online, or Get Found Online, was created on the same date as Internet Marketing. But let's say I wanted Internet Marketing to be up at the top. So I would go to Internet Marketing and click it, and go to Publishing. And I would change the created date to be earlier, maybe the day earlier. And I would go back over here and refresh. And that would move right up to the top, just like that. So now Internet Marketing is at the top. And let's say we wanted to do that one more time with Website Development. Let's say we want Get Found Online to be below. You can see here that this is now reflecting the 10 April created date. Get Found Online is 11 April, and Website Development is 11 April. So let's go and make Get Found Online 12 April, so it will be at the bottom. Get Found Online, and we're going to move him to 12 April. And I don't really need a start publishing date there. And I'm going to save and close. We'll refresh. We've got Get Found Online created on the 12th, Website Development on the 11th, and Internet Marketing on the 10th. Okay, some interesting things to note about the articles in the latest releases of Joomla. If you click on an article and you're working in it and you bugger it up entirely, you can revert back to an earlier version because Joomla has versions now. So click on Versions. And if you'll see here, it says you've got two different versions. You can click on a version from before and preview it. And it's going to show you the text in it. And it's going to show you what the created by date was. And so if you're not sure, because it doesn't really show you a picture of it, unfortunately, if you're not sure if it's the right one or not, you can always restore it and then check it out and see if it looks right to you. So that was Internet Marketing. Go. And we hadn't really changed a whole lot of that except for the date. And so you can see here that it reverted that date back to the 11th instead of the 10th like we had done. So it's sort of stuck there on the 11th. So we would want to change it back. So all we'd have to do is go back up here to versions and then look at that other one and restore it. And it moved back down to the bottom because it reverted back to that other date that we had set. So that's an interesting thing, and that's sort of a safety feature that allows you to save things and then go back and revert to them if you feel like maybe the changes that you made weren't beneficial, or if you had some specific formatting or maybe an embed code that you didn't mean to wipe out and you accidentally wiped it out. You can always revert back and it reverts back into it. A couple of more things. When you are working with embed codes, and what an embed code is let's say you go over to YouTube and you want to share that video and you click on embed and you want to embed that YouTube video right into that article. That's not a problem, but you can't do it inside of an editor because an editor is really wrapping what you're putting in there in a little bit of code. So you want to turn the editor off. So if you ever need to embed something, you're going to have to kind of eyeball where you want it to be. And the best thing to do is look at the tags. This is a P tag, which means it's a paragraph tag. And wherever there's an opening tag, there's going to be a closing tag because it's got a slash in front of it. Here's another opening P tag. Here's a closing P tag. So if you want it at the very end, just space and then paste your embed code right here. And just make sure that that editor is off all the time. Okay? And anytime you want to, you can turn the editor back on. Just make sure if you've embedded the code that you just hit save and close. You don't turn the editor back on. Okay? Save and close it. And that covers what you'll need to do when it comes to working with your articles in Joomla.